Well, folks, welcome to the Hogsty. There's plenty to say this week in which the Redskins drop one in disappointing fashion in Kansas City on Monday Night Football. We'll talk you through it as we head into the bye week. Stick around.
By fans, for fans, the Hogsty. And now, here's your host, Sean Conti.
Okay, boys, buckle up, get ready. We got a whirlwind to talk people through this week. I don't know if you had strong reactions coming out of this game. I'm excited as hell to hear what you all think. What do you want to talk about first? Where do you guys want to start with this game? By the way, I'm sorry. How are you guys?
Oh, that doesn't matter, clearly, according
I'm great.
to you. So.
I'm so sorry. You're right. That was rude of me. How the hell are you guys doing first?
It's one day removed from awful.
This is true. Alex is on vacation, taking one for the team to talk us through this on vacation.
Yeah, I mean, Monday was not a great start to my vacation. I'm a big Tom Petty fan, so losing him would have been bad enough, but then you have what happened in Vegas. Losing a tough game like that to end the day, that was rough. I took a long walk on the beach, though, so that helped.
Yeah, can we just real briefly, losing Tom Petty was big for me. I love Tom Petty. I love Tom Petty. He's one of my very favorites, and it was very unexpected. So rest in peace, Tom Petty. I really hated to see him go.
Yeah, I think anyone who was affected by the events this weekend, and obviously there were quite a few, we're with you here on the Hogsty, and our thoughts are with the people affected.
We're with you here to take your mind off things by just babbling about sports for an hour or two.
Hey, that's important too, Steve. You know what? We're doing a valiant
Wait, are
service.
we doing 2 hours?
We could.
Oh, God, no. Yeah. I remember those days, Alex. Not even that long ago. Forget that. Okay, well, let's jump into this game. Obviously, a somewhat disappointing turnout as the Redskins drop 1, 2-2 heading into the bye week. I can't remember. Did you guys, who predicted a win this week?
Me.
You predicted.
What I said,
I was optimistic and said win.
What I said was, if the Redskins play mistake-free football, and I was banking on them doing that, they could win. They did not play mistake-free football, hence the loss.
No, they did. They did not. And actually, that's a perfect segue. Why don't you hit us with maybe the big picture stats coming out of this game?
Alrighty, I can do. Let's start with the Redskins. Kirk Cousins, 14 for 24 for 220 yards, average of 9.2 yards per reception, 2 touchdowns, no sacks, quarterback rating of 116.7, which is still very good, not quite as good as last week. Leading rusher was Kirk Cousins, 7 carries, 38 yards, 5.4 yards per carry. Samaje Perine.
Second time this year he's been the top runner.
Yeah, it is.
Good
2 out of 4 games. Samaje Perine, 6 carries for 27 yards and a bundle of yuck, in my opinion. Chris Thompson, 6 for 23 yards. Rob Kelly, before he went out, was at 7 carries for 23 yards. Receiving, Vernon Davis was the leading receiver via yardage, 2 receptions, 89 yards, which was the real long 69-yard touchdown, which was just awesome.
Yeah. Thing of beauty.
Yeah, it really was.
That play really, I want to just have that play in a highlight reel forever.
Play it over and over and over again. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Terrell Pryor was number 2, 3 receptions, 70 yards, and his first touchdown. Josh Doxson, 2
Best
for
game
27. And 2 for 27. Jordan Reed, 3 for 21. Ryan Grant, 2 for 16. That is the Redskins' offense. Let me just knock the KC numbers out real fast. We'll have to come back to them.
Sure.
Alex Smith, 27 of 37, 293 yards, 1 touchdown, quarterback rating of 104.9, which is substantially lower than his season average. Kareem Hunt, who he held in check largely, nonetheless still racked up 21 carries, 101 yards, thanks to some second half better runs. Alex Smith himself, 7 carries, 56 yards. Travis Kelce.
Both quarterbacks in this game running like crazy.
Yeah, particularly Smith. Shock of shocks, Travis Kelce was their leading receiver. I'm stunned. 7 receptions, 111 yards, and a touchdown. Albert Wilson, who did much better than I thought he would, 4 receptions, 63 yards, and Tyreek Hill was 5 receptions for 33 yards, and it goes down from there. So that is statistics for this game.
You forgot the biggest part. You said Ryan Grant had 2 catches. You forgot to mention it.
I knew it. That's right.
So
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yes,
Yeah, Ryan
he
Grant
did.
did have touchdowns too because he had made a great catch in the end zone.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, what do you guys, with all that in mind, what do you guys want to talk about first? We could talk about offense if you want to take it that
Can
way.
I get a rant out?
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. You go ahead with
Because
that
I really
first.
had a big rant, last night because I was really upset about this game because I'm sick and tired of having to explain away every year and having the fans explain away how we're making progress and how we're, we showed people, we've made a statement and we're getting better. We're showing people we can compete now. But you know what? The time for that really is over. I'm sick to death of it. I don't want to hear it anymore. The only thing that really matters is are the Redskins going to win these games? Because at the end of the day, nobody's going to know or care that the score was tied with 8 seconds left. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is they lost. We didn't make any statement whatsoever. The statement we made is that we lost. Did they play okay? In some aspects, yes, sure they did. But I think the time has come for the Redskins fan and Redskins Nation and Redskins, whatever you want to call it, to stop talking about how we're making statements and stop talking about how we're winning by losing because I'm sick to death of it and I'm tired of it.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Steve. And I want to say, I mean, whatever you want to say, the Redskins came out swinging and scored early, but then they didn't. For a long time, really stalled out and let the other team hang around, which is what bit us. That's not going to win you games. I don't think that's making much of a statement. I mean, you had so many opportunities that you squandered at that point. Kansas City wasn't moving.
And our defense had supposedly improved. Let them march straight down the field and score the winning touchdown.
Yeah, well, now let's be honest though. Half our starting defense was on the bench hurt by the by the second
Play
half.
with what you got, man.
Who wasn't hurt?
Yeah, I mean, I realize there were a lot of injuries, and we'll get to that. But the fact of the matter is, our defense gave up 29 points. 6 of which were in bizarre fashion.
23.
Yeah,
23. Six of that was that turnover.
Ridiculous.
Last second.
So, I do want
Cluster
to go
F.
offense, defense like we usually do, but I just wanted to get that out up front because I saw a lot of that today, post-game from fans and media people alike. It's, we're making a statement. Charlie Casserly even said it. They lost, but they're making a statement. I'm just so tired of having to do this every single year. The bottom line is they're 2-2. It's another mediocre year and another mediocre team.
Yeah. Alex, Jamal, what did you guys take away from this game? Sorry, Alex, I know you were just about to say.
Well, my takeaway from the game was there were just too many mistakes, too many weird penalties on the team. And you know what? What was it? A offsides penalty on Smith when they were on 3rd and goal. Yeah. I didn't see how he was offsides. I'm sorry. I kind of looked at it a couple times now. He's on sides the entire time. And yet they still throw a flag on him. Some of them are a little ticky-tack nonsense like that, but you still can't make that many mistakes. I mean, he got called for, 3 other offsides penalties? It's too much. You can't go into Arrowhead, get that many penalties, give them that many chances, and expect to come away with a win. I said it in our pregame show. You got to cover their tight end, and who was their biggest weapon really the whole game? It was the tight end.
Yeah, 110 yards, Steve, you said?
111.
111 yards.
Even worse.
And Hunt had, good numbers, but I thought we did a pretty good job against Hunt at least.
Well, did you notice why?
Certainly in the first half.
Against Hunt? The reason was, if you guys notice, is that he was Zach Brown's assignment in obvious rushing downs. He was spying him in the rushing downs and on the passing downs. Most of the passing downs he was on him too, but he would take one look, see it was a pass, and back off. So you got to pick your poison. You have your fastest linebacker. Do you put him on the guy who's got 400 yards in 3 games, or the All-Pro tight end? It's a pick your poison thing.
And we all know we don't have another linebacker who can compare to Zach Brown. Most teams don't have any linebackers who compare to Zach Brown in terms of athletic ability and just raw speed. But, what are you going to do in that case? You need to figure – I still think the better plan would have been to put Brown on the tight end. But, that's all 20/20 hindsight at this point and speculation.
Well, I mean, for me, I think basically it's been said already. It's just too many missed opportunities and mistakes. I don't think, for the most part, what we knew coming into the game is that it wasn't going to be easy. You got out to a 10-0 lead, that's good, but the Kansas City Chiefs were arguably the best team in the NFL. So if you thought that you were going to run away with this game, that's damn sure not the case. That wasn't going to happen, period. So we were going to be in a dogfight. It was more so how we responded. And the thing that I take away from the game that I appreciate is that this offense fired back every single chance that they got when Kansas City eventually ended up taking the lead. They responded every single chance they got.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, it's 10 points. You should have had more than 10 points before they got 14. But point is, they responded every single chance they got, in as little time as they were given. And that's one of the things that, you appreciate. You also see Josh Doxson growing, in terms of the relationship between him and Cousins. You also see that you can't trust Pryor. I mean, I think I've said this already. You just can't trust him. It's something that needs to be developed, but at the moment, like you can't go to him. And you shouldn't go to him in crunch situations. Like it's just too many mistakes with him. Like he's timid. I just can't get over the slant. Like, I mean, I wasn't even mad. It was more so like, well, I mean, I seen it coming. Like that's my mentality when I saw that.
On that slant play, I mean, my stats I keep, I initially chalked that up as a bad pass, and then I realized, sitting there watching, no, this is just Terrell Pryor really being afraid to catch the ball because he had defenders right on top of him.
That was one of the hardest thrown balls that Kirk's ever thrown.
It was actually kind of right there.
Hit him right in the chest.
It wasn't a bad pass.
Or maybe right in the hands, not the chest.
And, I mean, defensively, it was more so, again, mistakes again. They're killing themselves. At some point, you've seen that, I mean, they were handing the Chiefs everything that they can handle, but the mistakes, the penalties kept them on the field, and then in part turning them getting tired. So it wasn't them being tired at first that they kept giving up so many yards and extending drives. It was the penalties, and then the penalties turned into them getting tired because they couldn't get off the field, and then everything just went downhill. Yeah. They couldn't stop a nosebleed. Players kept getting hurt. So many nicks. And then we had some people lost for a couple weeks. So it was a bad way to end a good game. Like,
it really was, and the penalties are dumb penalties too. The note I wrote to the first drive in the second half, which was the Chiefs' touchdown. I wrote the penalty drive. I named it, and the reason is, just think about this. 1st and 10, Kareem Hunt. They stop him for 1 yard. What happens? Bashaud Breeland gets a 15-yard horse collar tackle. Very next play, Junior Gillette roughing the passer. That's a 15-yarder. Martrell Spate. Holding. And then 3 plays later, Preston Smith offsides again. That's 3 big penalties. That gave them. Let's see, that's 15. That's 40 yards in penalties on one drive. And you wonder. Those are the mistakes they had to avoid that they did avoid against the Raiders that they just didn't against the Chiefs.
Yeah, and I mean, mistakes are definitely a big part of this game. By the way, I think we got to talk about Jay Gruden's mistake towards the end of the game as well. But mistakes were a big part of the game. Also, execution on defense. 3rd and 9, 3rd and 14. We had Kansas City at one point. Both those passes, I think, went to Kelsey for first downs.
I didn't realize Kelsey was such a punk, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I know. He was jazzed up, wasn't he?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, that's just it. It was just, how you let him march back and stick around and just put up such a poor showing. I mean, totally disappointing.
Yeah, it was.
Well, I mean, let's give them some credit. I think they made some good adjustments against what the Skins did early on. They shut down our run game, and that might have been, Kelly getting hurt, but
yeah, that definitely didn't help.
It didn't help.
Am I the only one that's done with Samaje P. Ryan?
No.
Yes. I'm not done with him yet. I still think there's a use for him. I just don't think they're using him right.
I'm not done with him in terms of like season, but for the meantime, he needs to go on the inactive list. I guarantee that.
Mac Brown's looked a lot better as a running back, and I'm not even talking about just the fumbles. I mean, Mac Brown has looked like a better running back than Samaje P. Ryan, I think.
Well, I'll put it this way: when we had that, what was it, 2nd and 2, where we tried to run Chris Thompson up the middle towards the end of the game, Yeah, I'm not running Chris Thompson up the middle at any
That's
point.
not a
for that.
not a strength.
No, you don't. I mean, that's the one spot where you want someone like P. Ryan, even though he wasn't getting big yards. I trust him to get 2 yards more than I trust Thompson in a package like that.
As much as Jay hates
you have
fumbles and turnovers, that's
Yeah.
how Matt Jones made his way to the doghouse. I mean, you got to think that P.
Sure.
Ryan is probably heading that direction too.
Yeah, he did have that one fumble that it went out of bounds.
Got
but-
really lucky it went out of bounds.
Well, he's lucky it got
Yeah.
credited to Kirk because it's damn sure like it's a pitch. You need to handle that.
Yeah, that wasn't Kirk's fault.
No,
that
I'm
was
just saying
P-Ryan's
it
No.
got credited like on the in the
Yeah.
stat sheet. It got credited to Kirk.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think anytime it's a pitch, they credit that's the quarterback.
but they know on film whose problem that really was. You know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Sean, you said something interested me. The Jay Gruden mistake.
Yeah, I got a couple actually big picture things I wanted to ask you guys about this game. But the Jay Gruden mistake, yeah. What do you give me your
What are you
thoughts
talking
on the
about?
about? What
timeout there?
mistake? Yeah.
yeah.
Timeout there at the end of
Oh,
the game.
I don't even think you talking about before the 3rd and 2, right? Yeah, I don't
Yes.
think that was a.
Instead of allowing the clock to run off before Kansas City gets the ball, if you're going to kick the field goal, you call the timeout and pause it. Give them time. Give them basically plenty of time to march back up the field and
I
score a
think
touchdown. I don't understand that clock management.
I think
at
it
all.
depends
wasn't-
on how you look at it. Because personally, and I'm pretty sure this is how he thought of it too. I listened to the press conference, but I'm not sure if he made mention to that or if anybody asked him. But I looked at it as you're calling the timeout to get your perfect play, and based on the results of the play, he called the perfect play. You're trying to what you're doing like because when it comes down to the critical situation like that. You have to get the first down. Like your goal is to steal a victory in Arrowhead. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to get the win. You're not trying to get them back on the field. So when you call a timeout like that, you know you have to get that first down or you have to get that the touchdown. So
Yeah.
I mean, you could have ran it after that, or you could have had a short pass just to move the sticks. However, him calling the timeout is more so for me. You're planning your best play. So you can put it out there and get the best results. You need more time to think it through. Not let the clock run down because after that second down play was over, the play clock already started. You need some more time. So he called that timeout, got some more time, drew up the play. The play was perfect, but the execution wasn't. So I mean, well, I shouldn't say the execution.
Yeah,
It was just one. It was a drop. So in the back end.
You know, I had another rant about that. It's
Yeah.
I hate the NFL catch rule, and I hate it particularly in the end zone because this is a play in which Josh Doctson had the ball under control in his hands, had caught the ball, and he had a foot and an elbow on the ground, which in a football context means he's down, you know, and I fail to see how
Right.
under any rational universe that isn't a touchdown. The ball's under control, you're in the end zone with the football on the ground. It ought to be a touchdown. You know, the fact that he fell down and the ground caused the ball to move and leave his hands ought to be totally irrelevant, particularly when you're in the end zone. I don't understand.
I agree with you, but as the letter of the rule is, where they have that whole as
I
you're
never
going to the
debate
ground
that's
nonsense
the letter of the
written in
rule.
there.
I'm saying the rule
Yeah.
is stupid. That was
Yeah.
what I meant when I tweeted
No,
that
I
out
agree
last
with you
night.
there.
I mean,
Yeah,
it was.
I
yeah,
agree
it's
with you there.
ridiculous.
It generally should be if you have a knee down. You're
Man,
down.
look, I'm sorry. I don't have like, and I think y'all know because I talk off the air. Like all I do is play receiver, so I may have a little
Yeah.
bias, but I'm sorry. You gotta when you hit the ground, you gotta catch it. I don't care about. I mean, the rules is the rules, and those rules is not. I mean, they've edited it, and the refs sometimes make it more difficult than it should be. But what Josh Doctson did. He caught it in the air, but there's a different element when the ground is involved, when you're falling. And you have to hold on to it when you hit the ground as well. The ball came out. It was a drop. A lot of people, they want to be technical because of Josh Doctson. They want to defend him. I'm not saying y'all. It's just the fact that I've seen it on Twitter all day. They want to defend him. But look, it's a drop. It's nothing else to it. It's really a drop. And it's nobody's saying that he lost us the game. Nobody's saying that it's his fault we lost. But he dropped the pass, the one that we threw to him in crunch time. You have to just understand that there's no outside factors, no degree of difficulty. Like, That's what we pay you. That's what they pay you to do. That's your athleticism. That's the unique feature you bring to this offense. So it wasn't difficult for him.
Mhm.
It just looks difficult to us, and it was difficult. Like in generality,
Sure.
it was difficult. But you got to catch
Well,
it.
50-50. Josh Jackson is a 50-50 ball guy. Like you want him there when you're throwing those 50-50 shots. He caught one last week. He didn't this
Exactly.
week. That's what a 50-50 ball guy does. It's not easy. You're not paying him to make easy catches. You're paying him
Yeah,
to
so
do
I
the
mean,
hard
that's
things.
all I'm saying. That's really all I'm saying. You pay him to do these things. There's no outside factors. There's no excuses for this specific
Mhm.
situation. We gave him a chance. He did his best. Noted. He did his
Yeah.
best, and it
The-
just didn't happen. The ball knocked it out. I mean, the ground knocked it out.
The
Yeah.
the one thing on that play that no one seems to be talking about, the other guy grabbed his helmet and pulled his head down.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Trying to break up the pass.
And his face got in his face mask.
And yeah, that should be a face mask penalty. But
I mean,
Yeah.
crying
I-
over
I
spilled milk right now.
I still feel like calling the timeout there gave Kansas City enough time to march down the field when you could have run it down another 27 seconds. There's still time for you to run 2 plays. That's not at stake. You still can tie it up or win it. There's no reason to give them back. Look at what Kansas City did the entire second half of this game. They controlled the pace. They had ball control, possession. They basically ate up an entire quarter on 2 plays. They know how to throttle up and throttle down. Don't give them a bunch of time at the end of the game, or what exactly happened is going to
yeah,
happen.
I would
it's
agree
it's
with
a good
that.
argument, Sean. Honestly, it really is. So I mean,
It is.
it's just
I
my
would agree
opinion
with
that
you.
it's the opposite. Sorry, D, like you said.
It's okay. I mean, I would agree with you more if they were playing for the game-winning field goal. But in this case, Jay is still playing for the touchdown and playing for the win, and so I can kind of understand
With
it
under
more.
a minute left and 2,
I'm just
you
telling
can
you
have
that's
30
what he
seconds
was
on the
doing,
clock.
though. I mean, I get your point, and I don't
Play
necessarily
for overtime at
I don't
that
necessarily
point,
think
man.
you're
Kick the
wrong,
field goal.
but they were clearly still going for the touchdown. In terms of Doxson in the end zone, I mean, I played receiver too, and I get it. And those are the ones that haunt you. When you drop something like that. I don't debate that it was a drop in accordance with the letter of the NFL rules. I'm saying it's a dumb rule when the player has the ball in possession with a foot and an elbow down in the end zone. It really that's a touchdown. Period. The ball is over the end zone, in control of the player. It's a touchdown. To me, I just think the rule is dumb. I don't deny that is the rule. It's just a ridiculous rule.
Well,
that's all.
There's so many dumb rules in this game. There's so many dumb rules.
That's fair.
And they're debating more and more dumb rules, it seems, every offseason.
I feel like every year they add a dumb rule instead of adding one smart one.
I wouldn't fight you on that one. Well, what other? I mean, did you guys have any reaction to this concept of how well Kansas City controlled the game in terms of the time of possession?
defense
in
let
this
them
game?
control
I mean,
it.
I'm about to say it was really on the defense,
Speaking-
honestly. The offense had the ball for 3 minutes in the third quarter, or 3 plays in the third
Yeah,
quarter.
that's
so,
what-
I mean, it really
Exactly.
was. Well, it was on the defense to get the ball back for him. It didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What can you say?
I think. I mean, to me, it all comes down to, the Chiefs adjusted, and all of our best defensive players started to get hurt, and that's really what killed us in the second half.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll point out.
What's the?
Huh?
Oh, go
Well,
ahead.
I'll point
Go ahead,
out
Steve.
that, from a game planning or play calling standpoint, Jay was about as balanced as you'll ever find a Jay Gruden team.
Sure.
At halftime, it was
Wow.
16 passes, 16 runs. Third quarter, 18 passes, 18 runs, and it ended up being 24-26 pass run.
Well, the last 3 weeks, he's been
He
much
has.
more balanced. We've
He
seen
has
that.
been a lot more balanced. And it really begs the question of whether or not he just doesn't trust the receivers like he trusted Pierre and Deshaun Jackson. And so he feels like he has to run more, even though, let's face it, I mean, the run game hasn't been a tremendous asset, shall we say, at times.
Very diplomatically put, Steve.
The run game hasn't, but the running backs have. I mean, we've been talking about Chris Thompson a lot lately and just what he's contributed in both running and passing game.
Yeah.
I know you don't consider it this way, Steve, necessarily, but I've always kind of thought as, if you're going to run screens to the running back, to me that's just as good as a run because, it's
Except
still
that
kind
it's
of getting
not a run.
Yeah. But it is because the running back
It would
is
be
getting the
a
ball on the
pass.
line of scrimmage with the lineman in front of him, and they bowl over
That's called a
people.
pass.
Sure.
Just FYI. Well, you want to hear what?
That's another one of those dumb technicalities that you hate, Steve. That right there.
Somebody asked Jay Gruden at the press conference today, which is Tuesday, where it was a telephone conference, can Mac Brown receive more reps? Because they're saying what we're talking about, is P. Ryan basically in the doghouse. That's the undercurrent of it. And so what he said was, Matt gives us a little something different too, That's something to be considered, but we'll have to wait and see. We've got to make sure we play the healthy guys because this game is a grind. We are only going to dress 3 running backs every week, I would anticipate, unless something happens and we have an extra spot somewhere.
But we dressed 4 this week,
Nah,
didn't we?
3.
No.
Mac Brown was
We
inactive.
dressed 3.
Did we dress
Yeah.
3? Oh wait, no, we
Tight
dressed
ends.
only 4 receivers.
We just And so
Yeah.
that's
Sorry,
that's their way of saying is Brown going to be up and over P. Ryan, and he was basically not willing to go there.
Or,
No.
Which
it's-
who can blame him? It's Tuesday of the bye week.
Yeah, I'm about to say
Who can blame him?
it's kind of frustrating to hear that as a fan, but again, like you actually just said it, it's Tuesday. It's a post game interview. You have to wait. You have to wait till next week when they're actually about to take the field again against the Niners. Not like the week following, leading to a bye week. They had plenty of time to think on it. And I'm pretty sure they already know their answer. Honestly, at this point, they should know their answer.
I think they need to see how healthy Kelly is.
Well, it's funny you mentioned health also because they asked him about Jordan Reed in the presser today, and whether he was on a snap count, and Jay said yes, he was on a snap count. Said he wasn't 100%. And so.
Sure.
That obviously goes into why there weren't too many plays called for him.
I mean, I respect him gutting it out. You could tell he was on the snap count because Vernon Davis and Jeremy Sprinkle was in the game most of the time, and now it's Paul.
Yeah.
Right.
So you could tell he's on the snap count. And what sucks now, and I'm not, because I would go to Josh Doctson any day of the week myself. Like I bang with Josh heavy. But what sucks for Jordan Reed, if I'm Jordan Reed, is the fact that I gutted it out. I beat my man on the fade or the fade to the end zone, it wasn't really a fly. More so, it don't matter. Anyway, I beat my man to the end zone, and I didn't get looked at. Obviously, Kirk said he felt that Jordan was doubled, or he was doubling anybody that ran over the middle, and Jay said that Kirk thought Jordan was doubled, whatever it was, whatever the communication was or thought process was. I would have been a little bit pissed that I did all that, and I beat my man for the game-winning touchdown, but I didn't get thrown my way. And Josh Doctson.
Well, yeah, they were both open.
Yeah,
I didn't have too much of a problem with the decision. They were both open. Personally, I think in hindsight, if you're going for the game-winning touchdown, I'd go with the guy that has the highest catch percentage in the history of the NFL for a tight end.
Sure.
But in the instant moment, you throw a jump ball to the guy who can leap out of the gym. I get it.
I'm not faulting the decision or the person who threw it to. Yeah, it was just if I'm Jordan Reed, I'd be upset.
Yeah.
Now the other smart thing to do on that play might have been to go underneath. Because there wasn't a lot of room, but both Thompson and Crowder both had some room, and had they caught it, it could have been a first down, and then you continue
get
to
another
circulate
series.
down
Yeah.
the field. Right.
What's annoying about? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I think we're going to end up analyzing that last series a lot, probably for the rest of the year, because I think that's going to come at least for the rest of the week. But I think this is a game that might come back and haunt us a little bit as something we could have won that would have been a great statement, but obviously it's going to be what it is now.
Yeah,
just another came up short.
It's kind of like a memorable game. And again, you already said it. It's going to be something we'll remember for the rest of the year. It's mainly involved with how Kirk played, and then how Doctson played too. Doctson had a good game for the minimum amount of opportunities he saw on the field in terms of targets, but he had the biggest opportunity on the biggest stage. And that's why we remember it, is because of the fact that the sequence. You thought he had it. It wasn't no drop from the beginning. You thought he had it. His body turned towards the camera. And when he fell, everybody was jumping for joy, if you're a Skins fan. And then you see the ball squirt out. And then you're like, damn.
Yeah.
He dropped it. So it's a memorable game on so many different levels because it started off so great for us, and then the drama entailed, and it was a great game to watch if you weren't involved. Like, it was just a great game.
Yeah, that's true. Is anybody interested in wide receiver snap counts?
Let's do it. Let's hear it.
Is that
I
you are
yeah,
okay?
sure.
I don't want to get
I
too
like that
nerdy
kind
with
of
this
thing.
stats, but
I like snap counts. In
yeah,
general.
Terrell Pryor 43 snaps, Jameson Crowder 36 snaps, and then Ryan Grant 22, Josh Jackson 17, and so.
Wow.
Yeah, and Brian Quick did not
I don't
have
think he
snap.
played. Yeah, I
He
think
was
been
out. He was
so,
out.
So, Pryor is the guy who's the primary X. Jameson Crowder is going to be in on all the third, the plays it has, third wide receiver involved, the slot guy, and then essentially Ryan Grant and Josh Jackson continue to split the snaps. Unless, I was one that wrote a piece saying, Ryan Grant's average, but he's earned playing time. You can't just
He's
kick
earned
him
playing
to the curb.
time. I mean, I think that if anything, we got to start taking snaps away from
I
Pryor
was just
for
about to say
Doxson.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's-
I think Doxson's really starting to show something. At least I don't.
know
I
if
don't.
I'd
I mean,
go that far.
it's not elite, but
with-
He has ability.
Well,
I think-
sure.
Yeah.
I think what he's shown, and I agree with Alex. Dotson, again, he's having limited opportunities, but what he's showing in these limited opportunities, is more so the fact that he had a drop against the Raiders, but for a fact that was just for whatever reason it is what it is. But he brings a different element that Terrell Pryor can't even bring with his 6'5", 6'4" frame. And it's the fact that he has the leaping ability and his hands, he's a natural receiver. And you're able to see that on the field right now. The second catch that he had, he dove across the middle for it. I think he got dinged up a little bit. I think he got up a little limp. I'm not sure.
It's a great catch.
He wasn't hurt. He obviously came back in the game, but he got dinged up after that one. I forgot what. I forgot. I haven't seen the replay. But again, great catch. Diving, leaping over the middle, closer towards the left sideline. But it's just the fact that you see these type of things from him. If you get him on the field more and get him more opportunities and feature him a little bit more, you'll be surprised what he can do. Personally, I would, if I knew the play was coming, I would have never threw that slant to Terrell Pryor. I would never threw it to him. It's either going to Jordan Reed or it's either going to Josh Doxson. That's me.
or Crowder. If Crowder is open on something like that, he'll
I
make
guess
that
I'm the only
catch
one that
usually.
continues to defend Terrell Pryor, but because the guy needs experience. I mean, he's played. This is his second year he's played wide receiver in his entire life. He's always been a quarterback.
Okay.
I mean, he does need to learn.
I mean,
he does need experience. I'm not saying go out there and pay him, $15 million a year, but I mean, the guy is going to get better.
I mean, he can have the experience.
Well,
he can get the experience on the field. That don't mean you have to go to him in certain situations. Don't mean that at all.
I mean, fair.
Here'd be my counter argument, and this is kind of, I guess, cynical. He's a 28-year-old. He's on a 1-year contract. I want to get my experience with the guy who's 22, 23, and he's got 3 more years here potentially.
Yeah.
That's the guy I want to dedicate work effort.
I mean, they can do both. I'm not saying Pryor
Not
needs
on the same play,
to
they
get
can't.
15 targets a game or anything, but I think they need to continue to throw him the ball. I mean, he was productive in Cleveland. He can be productive here.
The issue in Cleveland is the same thing that's been going on today. It's with the Redskins. He's had like Cleveland fans and people who watch Cleveland. They had the issues with the drops over there too. The same thing's still going on. It's the exact same thing. So I really don't know. You can say he needs the experience. That's true, and I agree. So I'm not wavering on him. I knew it was going to take some time for him to develop, but at the same time, you need to make sure you give the opportunities to certain people on your team. Go to your most trusted guys, and I think Josh Doxson has earned some more trust. And clearly Kirk believes that too, because that's what we went to in crunch time. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Can we give Josh? Go ahead, Sean. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, that's okay. I was actually just going to ask if we were ready to wrap up. If you could do a little injury rundown for the benefit of the folks at home. I don't think we've talked about it.
We can't let this
Go
go
ahead.
without tooting Zach Brown's horn just a little bit more. We haven't mentioned him.
By all means.
I mean, the guy.
We talked about him
a little bit, but the guy has been all over the field. He's been everything the Redskins would ever want from him and more. He's between he and DJ Swearinger, they're the real superstars on the defense. I think it's really, really fortunate that they have a guy like Zach. I mean, 9 tackles again, this week. So I couldn't let
Shout
it go.
out.
Yeah.
Both those guys, I loved watching Swearinger suplex Alex Smith there too at the end of his long
it's
run.
been fun to watch.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
luck. It's unfortunate that they got so nicked and tired. Stats don't really show how well they played.
Yeah.
Clearly they got tired. You saw them move on them like towards the end of the second quarter and the whole third quarter. But I mean, they played pretty solid the first 15 minutes. And in my opinion, that's the Redskins defense I believe in this season. It's just one of those games.
I mean, you held the number 1 offense to 23 points. That's not terrible.
Not at all.
Counts for something.
And by the way, the final thing here, I mean, the very last play, the play that resulted in 6 points for the Chiefs.
That's not even worth talking
I
about.
just-
That was just a
Of course,
busted.
I don't know
Franken
why
play right there.
you don't just chuck the ball down the field and hope for the best. Isn't that a higher percentage
Because
play?
50 laterals looks cooler, Steve.
Is that it?
You
I
know
mean,
it.
But they got the
isn't
ball
that a
at
higher
25,
percentage? Yeah, he's not
Why
going to get to the end.
Why not run the triple
He's not
option?
gonna get it to the end
I
zone.
don't
I'm about to say
understand.
He's not gonna get
25
in the
with
end zone.
a 14-mile-an-hour wind. I'm not really sure about that, man.
He could throw it 50 yards. Isn't that a better, throw it 50 yards down the field and who knows what may happen? Isn't that a better option than trying to
I would at
laterally
least
your
throw it
way
over
down
the
the
middle.
field?
Yeah, about 20, 25 yards and give you a head start like that. But
Yeah, something.
It's a fair point, Steve. When you see miracle plays, and it's like, a team like Green Bay pulls them off every other game, it's always through the air on a Hail Mary pass. It's never some crazy.
The only one of those lateral
you know.
plays that ever worked was the Music City Miracle in the playoffs.
Exactly. Those never work.
Otherwise, it never worked.
Yeah. No, I think you're generally right. The hook and ladder is like some weird vintage.
That wasn't
college
even the
play
hook and
that
ladder. That
people
wasn't
love.
what they were running.
I mean,
Yeah, I know. But I'm just talking like the weird
Yeah.
gimmicky plays. In
it
general.
got
They don't
snuffed
work.
out embarrassingly.
Yeah, it really did. It was like a bad playground play. Did you want me to go injuries, Sean? Is that what you were saying?
Why
Yeah,
don't you
let's
just
do
talk
injuries
about the
quick.
big ones? Yeah,
Okay, Jay kind of skipped around on the injuries today, but the bottom line is Trent Williams is getting an MRI on his knee. He has an irritated kneecap again. And just so people know, I mean, Trent's on. I'm surprised it took this long for Trent to get on the injury report. He's on the injury report every single week of every single year. So,
every year.
yeah.
True story.
Rob Kelly, ankle sprain day to day. Josh Norman has a rib fracture. He's week to week. It's rib singular, not ribs plural, by the way. Rib. Josh Doxson, shoulder strain. DeShazer Everett, hamstring. What else did he say? Monte Nicholson has a shoulder. No further input on that. And then just because this sounds gross, Kendall Fuller got kicked in the eye and was bleeding from the eye, but he came back in the game.
Jesus.
Delightful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So that was all the only
Okay.
injury updates that we
How
had.
does somebody get a foot into your eye if you have a helmet on?
hey, things can happen without if you ain't got no visor.
Apparently so.
Or if
You
your
don't know
helmet-
what happens at the bottom
I
of
think the
Pilot.
visor They need to start making
or
that
if your helmet
mandatory.
falls off.
Weird stuff happens without it.
Mandatory visors?
Yikes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think I'd probably
Ouch.
wear
Well,
one
he
if
get-
it were me.
He gets the Purple Heart for that one in my book.
we-
All right, well, we'll keep everybody updated. Obviously, do we have anything to say about the bye week, guys? Obviously, we're going to come back and do a show. We have an interview coming up for the bye week. Anything else?
Well, it's perfect timing.
Kirk Cousins is apparently sticking around. He's not going to leave Ashburn the entire time.
Well, okay.
Well, do we want to give
I'd
a
always like
game
to hear
ball
that.
and a losing effort? Do we go through that brain damage or not? What do y'all think?
Go ahead and go for it, man.
If you have one, yeah. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
If you're so inspired, if the spirit moves
Oh, I
you.
guess, yeah, since I brought it up, I got to do it. I'll give the game ball to Zach Brown.
Zach
Zach
Saw
Brown.
that one coming.
Well, I mean, he was a beast out there,
No, it's fair.
Yeah,
It's
so
fair.
Zach Brown gets a defensive game ball, offensive game ball. God, I don't know. Nobody. I'm sticking a knife in the offensive game ball this week. No, you know what? I mean,
Ryan Grant.
I was about to say Ryan Grant. Ryan Grant made a great catch and ends on for a touchdown. Ryan Grant. I'm fair. I can be objective. So that's fine.
Okay,
now
Steve.
pigs have
okay,
officially
buddy.
flown.
I believe you, sure.
I'm going to give one
Okay.
to Ryan Grant too, by the way, just because he never gets
His
chances.
one
for
and
game
only
ball,
chance
so
ever.
You got
This is
two
lovely.
He's
now.
never getting another one.
I appreciate all of it.
I can't stomach giving a game ball to Ryan Grant. I'm going to give it to
Aw.
Kirk. He really.
Ew.
I thought he had a pretty good game overall. So
What's your problem,
Why not?
Alex?
Showed some guts, if nothing else, on those 2 runs.
yeah, he ran his guts out. Also, he had Cooper Cousins. You know,
Hey, that's
so
very true.
you know he gets a game ball for having a son.
There you go. Fair
Alright.
enough. Winning in the game of life.
I'm actually going to give mine to the Cousins too. I just think that throughout the game
Alright.
he was consistent. He was very consistent, and then when you needed him the most in the second half, when you had limited opportunities, he took you down for a 3-play drive, and then he took you down for the game tying drive. Mainly using his legs.
It's
So
true.
I give him the ball. I give him the game ball offensively. Defensively, I go with the interior pass rush. I would give credit to the front 7 in general, but Alex Smith broke containment too many times for me to say that Ryan Kerrigan and Preston Smith had a good game. Credit to Preston Smith.
Yeah,
he got another sack, but I mean throughout the
he did.
entire game, he had his mistakes. And so did Brian Kerrigan. So I give my game ball to the interior.
Every time we got a good rush inside, he just ran around the right side of the line.
It
Didn't
wasn't Junior Glutt's proudest moment this game
Yeah,
either.
that's-
No.
it was pretty close.
he? No, or Anderson. Anderson also seemed
Yeah.
to have. Yeah.
All right.
Well, better days will come ahead, guys. You can count on that. Or actually, maybe you can't, but we'll hope. We'll see y'all next week, obviously, for the bye-week spectacular. Until then, have a great time.
I'll
Peace.
try and buy some fireworks while I'm in Delaware for the
Cheerio.
spectacular.
Is Delaware like a
Spectacular.
fireworks home or something?
No.
All right, go home. Do something fun. Cut.